Wait a minute. Dude, I have not seen, like, any of these scenes. Generic intro into that goes mood here, back with another kill count reaction. Today we're doing It from 2017. We're doing part 1 and part 2 today. I'm not sure why they broke it up into 2 parts, but this is a movie I've never seen, but I've actually done a couple of videos on it between Nostalgia Critic and Kill Counts, because I did the original Kill Count, I think like 3 or 4 months ago. You can check out my reaction to the last video, which was Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which was a phenomenal video. I'll leave it right up there. Also, link down below in the description. Also, in a place on my channel with all my other kill counts going in chronological order. If you want to binge watch through all of them, going from the very beginning. Most of the movies are ones I have never seen or I've never heard of or never knew anything about. I'm fairly familiar with it. There's probably going to be some scenes that have to get blurred due to copyright. People complain about that on the last couple It videos that I've done. I know that It is one of the few movies that actually does have copyright issues. So if I had to blur something, it's not because I had or wanted to. It's because I absolutely had to. But thank you so much for being here. Shout out to patrons. None of this will be possible if it was not for them. $3 a month to get you all my reaction videos a day early, which is like 16, 17 videos a week sometimes, or it's at least 16 videos. Sometimes it's 17, 18 videos a week. But we're going to be doing It from 2017. Apparently a lot of people said, I remember KYR Speedy said that this movie was more funny than it was scary. I still haven't seen it because it probably would be rather scary, as I'm not someone that enjoys scary movies. But let's go ahead and jump into It 2017 part 1. Alright, so I know that It movies tend to have a lot of copyright issues, so if something's blurred, it's because I had to. There's no choice.
And today we're looking at the 2017 adaptation
Still haven't seen.
based on the Stephen King novel previously made into a miniseries in 1990. On a pedantic note, this isn't a remake of that miniseries, which you can watch me cover in a previous kill count here.
Which I did like 3 or 4 months ago.
This is a different adaptation of the same source material, King's massive 1,100-page tome, which I still haven't read yet. This new telling takes place in the late 1980s, giving it a sort of R-rated Stranger Things feel. The basic story is the same as ever.
I've only seen season 1 of Stranger Things.
The small town of Derry, Maine are haunted by an evil entity who most frequently takes the form of Pennywise the Dancing Clown. Whereas Tim Curry performed the role in the miniseries as a twisted but mostly human-seeming clown.
Yeah, the Nostalgia Critic scene.
Skarsgård's take on the character is completely new and helped make this movie one of the highest-grossing R-rated films of all time. Skarsgård,
wait, really?
who should maybe be called Skarsgård after this, plays Pennywise as a totally alien being who happens to be wearing a clown costume and has a damn fun time doing it. The cast of mostly unknown kids is also impressive as hell, as is the cinematography, the music, and just how damn funny the movie is.
I didn't realize this was that popular.
On how scary it is, but I'm not here to rate terror. I'm here to count kills. So let's get to them.
I don't like scary movies. Not a fan. Not a fan.
The movie begins on a rainy day in Derry, Maine. It's 1988, and Bill Denborough is too sick to go outside with his little brother Georgie, so the best he can do is wax up a paper boat for him and wish him luck on his voyage. Oh boy, that's a cute kid. Move over, Andy Barkley. You've got some competition here. Georgie casts off, and it's a real
that was the
time until he thwacks his
Andy Barkley. Was that the?
He gets back up just fine.
The kid from
kids can bounce back
Chucky?
from anything. The boat gets away from him and goes down the gutter, and when Georgie leans in to look for it, he runs into your average run-of-the-mill sewer clown. The clown asks Georgie if he wants all sorts of fun.
We know those, right?
Georgie says he can't talk to strangers.
Oh, well, I'm Pennywise, the dancing clown. Pennywise,
dancing.
Meet Georgie. Georgie, meet Pennywise. Now we aren't strangers.
Who knew nabbing a kid was as simple as making a formal introduction? But anyone who's anyone knows Pennywise isn't trying to nab kids. He's trying to snack on them. So after he offers Georgie his boat back and the kid goes to grab
the epic
it,
rap battle of history.
He bites off Georgie's arm, which fans of the miniseries have only heard about. But here we straight up see it as Georgie fruitlessly tries to crawl away before being dragged back down into the sewer for the film's infamous opening kill. Then it's 8 months later, and it's time to meet our cast of kids. We briefly check in with Mike Hamlin as he hesitates to kill a sheep on his granddad's abattoir. Here's an animal kill warning, because granddad trying to make a living, and he ain't got time for being wishy-washy on the bolt gun. He tells Mike there are 2 types of people in this world. The people with the bolt guns and the sheep who get got. Which one you gonna be, Mike?
Is that actually how
it's done? Bill and his fellow Goyim, Eddie Kasprak and Richie Tozier, question their Jewish friend Stan Uris about what his upcoming bar mitzvah means exactly. Richie, the jokester of the group, has a very late-night stand-up understanding of the process.
Stan, I think the rabbi's gonna pull down your pants. Turn around and say, "Where's the meat?"
Sure, Richie's probably tired of being around all the time, but at least these boys have friends, unlike Beverly Marsh, who gets bullied and called a slut by some mean girls in the bathroom. Then they dump a bunch of bathroom trash water on her head and call the school year. Happy summer vacay! On her way out, Beth runs into another famous loser, the new kid in school, Portly Ben Hanscom. He shows off an expert-level display of clumsiness with a great physical comedy bit. The two of them bond over Ben's music, New Kids on the Block, and she becomes the first and only kid to sign his yearbook, kicking off a real serious crush. Aw, Ben's so cute. Bill and his bros make plans for the summer, Bill pushing hard for them to hang out at the Barrens. As they watch the mom of a missing girl, Betty Ripsum, wait in vain to see if her kid will come out of the school.
As if Betty Ripsum's been hiding at home for the last few weeks.
Before they're even able to leave the school grounds, they get harassed by Joe Dirt Jr., Henry Bowers. Bill stutters out an attack.
suck, Powers.
And Henry gets all up in his face, threatening that his free pass due to the Georgie thing is over. The bullying only ends when Henry gets a stern look from his dad. Police officer
his dad's a
I bet they have a real nice father-son relationship.
I wonder
I'm
if that
just kidding.
actually...
Literally no one in this story has a healthy relationship with their parents. Case in point, when Bill gets home, his dad's all pissed at him for recreating the dairy sewer system with hamster tubes in an attempt to figure out where Georgie might be. Bill's test says
It's been 8 months?
Denborough is less optimistic about his younger son.
He's gone. He's dead.
And he rips down the map of dairy instead of being real proud of Bill for that kind of ingenuity. Get that kid in some civil engineering class.
Yeah, how in the world did he
like
figure out
their sewer fun times? But on their way out, Eddie's mom harangues them and tells Eddie to be mindful of his allergies. She even makes him give her a kiss goodbye. Aw, Mom.
You want one for me too, Mrs. K?
Good one, Richie. But let's take a break from your class clown stuff and get back to some scary clown stuff. As Mike is delivering
But he's a
dead
dancing
lamb
clown.
packages, he has a vision at the back door of the butcher shop where charred hands try to escape from behind it as fire and smoke billow out. That vision ends when the door flies open to reveal a prime cut of Pennywise dangling in the back there. We only get some spooky light up eyes before this vision ends, and Mike has to deal with the more everyday scary stuff that is
they
racism.
can drive.
Get the fuck out of it now!
At the synagogue, Stan is practicing for his puberty party when his dad gives him grief for not being better at speaking Hebrew. He goes to put his Torah away, shielding himself from the creepy painting in the office, but then when his back is turned, it falls on the ground. When he hangs it back up,
and
the
it's gonna attack him.
Gone, and she emerges from the shadows looking like Kiki, a Flash animation screamer from like 2002. She gives him a sharp-toothy grin, and he's like, "No thanks, do not."
Yeah, no
Meanwhile,
thanks,
Ben is
I'm
hanging
good.
out in the library, writing a poem for Beverly about January Embers, a great indie band name.
Secret Admirer.
Play an instrument, kid. I'm thinking keyboard. He's also continuing some personal research into Derry's history, and today's topic is an Easter egg hunt explosion that left a head in a tree. But that image is only the beginning of Ben Hanscom's spooky times. He follows a red balloon to the back of the library.
I don't know about that one.
He finds a trail of smoking Easter eggs. These lead him to the library archives, an inherently creepy place, and made worse when a smoking headless body comes down the steps and charges at him in a jerky way. There's been a lot of criticism of the jerky CG style some of these scares use, and I think that's fair, since it's used over and over in the movie. But they don't really bother me too much, even when Pennywise
it is unsettling.
does the same thing. Ben gets out of there just in time to run headlong into some bullies. Joe Dirt and his mom
are they everywhere?
Exit of a Friday the 13th the game map, and the whole gang's here for the party. You've got punk rock Draco Malfoy, Pyro Kylo Ren, and Belch. Yep, he's still belching around. Although sadly, that's the only belch in this movie. Ben tries to signal for help from a car driving by, but they just trying to win the round, Ben. Sorry, I think it was the two-seater anyway. Henry threatens to carve his name into Ben's stomach, and unlike in the miniseries, he actually starts to do it.
Oh
Ben
my God!
Drops backwards down the hill, and after Henry hops the fence to follow Ben in his hot rod hill tumble, he's gonna knife, which apparently belongs to his dad. He sends Belch and Patrick to go after Ben, while he and Vic look for his blade. As Ben runs for his life, Bill and the others are considering going into a sewer pipe. It's another scene that's great at capturing how young teenage boys really act with their friends, with Richie continuing to be a little shit to the hypochondriac Eddie, who's worried about how unsanitary this adventure is.
You ever heard of a staph infection? A staph infection.
Bill finds a shoe in the water. Where's the foot? And a name inside
where's the foot?
Betty rips him. That steals Bill, who says we need to go deeper, arguing that if he were Betty, he'd want to be found. But Eddie and Stan both express some trepidation.
Wait, wasn't Betty?
We're supposed to be having fun. This isn't fun.
Look at the fun we're having.
A decision. Ben wades his way into the discussion.
That's a Game of Thrones
and they
reference,
pause
actually.
everything to help him out. Patrick's still looking for Ben when he decides to go into another sewer entrance. Do sewer systems really have these big old openings all over?
Actually,
he creeps deeper and deeper,
yes.
lighting his way with his makeshift flamethrower until he runs into a bunch of dead zombie kids that
Oh!
call after him by name. He tries to escape but runs into steel bars, and with his back against them, a balloon floats up to him. When it pops, it reveals Pennywise, who CG jerks his way towards the camera to kill Patrick Hockstetter. And just so you know, Patrick isn't in the 1990 miniseries, except maybe as one of the unnamed greasers during the rock fight. The kids head to the pharmacy to get some medical supplies for Ben, and Beverly is also there in the midst of transitioning to adulthood. They run into each other, and when Bill mentions they don't have enough money for the stuff they need, Bev does them a solid by flirting with the pharmacist to distract him for a while. Dude is grossly receptive to it.
Well, how about that? You look just like Lois Lane.
Oh, the disgusting gambit pays off, and the kids are able to shoplift the supplies they need to stitch up Ben and Bill is standing lookout when Bev walks up to him in slow motion. Ooh, he like Bev. She goes to check out the back alley operation, and after a cute New Kids on the Block reference to Ben, Bill invites her to hang out with them at the quarry the next day, which sounds good to her. A rock quarry may not sound like much fun, but it's got to be better than Ben's home.
I really hope
creepy fucking
the thing at the end of the book isn't in this.
Fondles her hair after seeing what she's purchased.
Tell me you're still my little girl.
Yes, Daddy.
In response to her dad's gross-ass overtures, she cuts off all her hair in the bathroom. Probably shouldn't be putting that much hair down the drain.
Yeah,
but
no.
You know what, Bev? Never mind. That's a problem for asshole Al to deal with now. You rock that, Bob girl. It's quarry time, which means watching a bunch of kids hawk loogies in their underwear. Bev arrives and joins them, then shows them all up by being the first to take a running leap into the water below.
That's
You gotta say,
Real
all these
dangerous.
kids braver than me, because I don't know if I'd do that jump now or then. They have fun
Yeah.
times, splash around, get creeped out by a
Wait,
turtle. brushing
it
around
looked
her
like they
legs,
were
and
standing up
awkwardly
in the
stare at
water.
Bev while she's lying out in the sun. Then Richie gets nosy and finds Ben's macabre newspaper clippings, including one on the Black Spot, a nightclub for black people burned down by a racist cult in 1962. Ben explains how in Derry, people disappear and die 6 times the national average.
And that's just grown-ups.
You just
Kids are
know that?
worse. Way worse.
He invites them back to his house, and after a quick
Is Derry-
cleanup,
Derry Maine's
Chris
not a
finally
real
gets
place,
finished.
is it? Or
He shows
is
them
it?
a
It might
strip of
actually be.
Homeland walls where he's cataloged disturbing occurrences in Derry, stretching back all the way to its founding.
Derry started as a beaver trapping camp.
Still is, am I right, boys?
In maybe the funniest moment of this hilarious movie, Bev also finds a New Kids on the Block poster behind Ben's door, but he pleads with his eyes for her to keep it secret, and she's a nice gal, so she does. Ben points out that a lot
What's
of the
wrong
town's
with
tragedies
New
are
Kids on
connected
the
to the
Block?
old well house, but he's not sure where the well house is anymore. I'll give you a spoiler, that shit's on Nebolt Street, as Eddie is about to find out while walking home past the old creepy abandoned house on the corner there.
It was like
Freaks him out so
Monster
much that
House.
He drops all his pills, but luckily there's a friendly leper there to help him pick him back up. The leper is played by phenomenal creature actor Javier Botet, who was in Wreck and Mama, and who you'll shortly be able to see as Slender Man. He chases Eddie around.
Wait,
the
what do you
yard
mean
and
as
he's replaced
Slender
by
Man?
Pennywise, the tourism director for Nebolt House.
If you lived here, you'd be home by now.
He disappears with a bunch of balloon pops, and Eddie crawls away. His underwear surely one shit ton heavier.
Uh-huh.
When she gets home, Bev finds a postcard has been slipped into her backpack with Ben's poem on the back, although she doesn't know who it's from yet. Looks like she's into it though.
But who
Ever
is
since
it?
Starts talking at her and telling her there's a bunch of kids down there. Sounds like a crazy conspiracy to me, but Bev sticks a tape measure down there to see just how deep it goes. Pretty goddamn deep.
shouldn't
Where's
it,
the bend
like,
in that
kind of-
scene? When
yeah,
she pulls
bend,
the tape
yeah.
measure back out, it's got blood and hair on it, and the hair starts attacking her, wrapping around her limbs
Oh.
and head and pulling her towards the drain. Then the whole thing erupts in a geyser of blood that coats the entire bathroom.
But only
What is
she
this, a
sees
Sam
it.
Raimi flick? When Al comes in and asks about all the yelling, he
Also,
doesn't see
wasn't
blood at all.
the
Let's keep
original,
these
like,
haunted
they
house scares
were,
coming with Bill, who's chilling in Georgie's old room with a Lego
Like,
turtle when he
they
sees
were
a
kids
raincoat
and then
clad
something
figure
bad
running around
happens
in his
and then they
house. He
come
follows
back
it to the
later and
basement
most of
where
it happens
Georgie
as
emerges
adults.
from the corner to apologize for losing Bill's boat. Yo, kid, it was a friggin' piece of paper. Don't worry about it. Georgie invites Bill to come with him and advertises the benefits, namely that he'll float too.
You'll float too. You'll float too.
Oh fuck, that's not Georgie. That's Pennywise and his famous
Uh.
Georgie hand puppet. So lifelike. One jerky CG charge later, and Bill
does he
milks the
look
fuck
like
out of
that?
there, leaving Pennywise behind to slither away and retreat. Bev has the boys over, and as Richie
Was
stands
he even
watch
trying,
outside,
though?
he shows them her bloody bathroom. They can see the blood, proving that she's not Crazy Town Banana Pants, and with a montage set to the cure, they help her clean it all up. Ben's
That's
still
good.
carrying a torch for Bev, but it looks like she's more into Bill, even assuming it was him who wrote the poem. But when she brings it up, he doesn't know what she's talking about.
Oh.
Embers?
I don't really know much about poetry.
The other kids begin to finally
Uh-huh.
share their terrifying clown visions with each other, although Richie, the only one who hasn't had first-hand experience, remains in disbelief.
Wait, can only virgins see this stuff? Is that why I'm not seeing this shit?
They hear shouting and see Mike's bike on the side of the road next to Belcher's car, and sure
Oh.
enough, the bullies have Mike on the ground
Nice
and
car.
are trying to make him eat raw meat. And if that weren't
Ew.
bad enough, Mike also sees Pennywise waving to him from the bushes. Hiya, Mikey. Before Bowers can smash Mike's head in, he gets hit in the head with a rock thrown by Bev.
Good.
All-out fucking rock war breaks out, complete with metal
Oh.
music and some slow-motion belt
Getting
killing.
hit in the
And
head with a
goddamn,
rock
can
is
kids
bad.
seriously take this many rocks to the head and
Yeah.
not wind up with internal brain bleeding? Man, kids can bounce back from anything. The losers end
They
up
are
winning
made out
this
of rubber.
skirmish and leave Henry behind in a bloody heap. As part of their victory parade, they induct Mike into their little gang.
Welcome to the Losers Club!
As they hang out
Oh,
together
well, they
and
kept
look at
that
a
name.
poster of a new missing kid, they start to develop a
Corcoran.
thesis on Derry. Every 27 years, some bad event happens in town, like the Easter explosion, the Black Spot fire, and the recent rash of missing kids. The visions they're seeing are the things they fear most, like a diseased leper for Eddie or the woman in the painting for Stan.
She hot?
No, Richie. She's not hot.
Mike reveals his vision, the charred hands behind the burning door, comes from a real-life experience. His parents were burned alive inside a building during a case of arson, and he was there to see it. And when
Wait,
asked
was
what he's
that
afraid of,
the-
Richie admits that it's clowns.
What-
I've got some bad news.
Was
for you,
that
kid.
the-
They go
the
to
other
Bill's
thing that
garage
happened
to
20 years
project
ago
a
or
map
whatever?
of Derry and its sewer system on
Well, he
the
was
wall,
still
and
20
notice
years
that
old.
every location with a tragic history behind it is connected by the sewers, which all meet up at the well house. And that well house,
It's in the house on Nebolt Street.
aka Nebolt House. Eddie freaks out and tries to abort this whole
He's like,
thing.
yeah, nah.
This is summer. We're kids.
He tears down the map, but then the projector takes on a life of its own, and we get a series of spooky images. First, a reminder of Bill's dead little bro, and an image of his mom turning into Pennywise, and then, best of all, a giant-ass fucking Pennywise coming out of that screen.
Wait
Dear
a
God,
minute.
that is one big-ass clown. They end the nightmare by opening the garage door, and Bill immediately wants to
Dude,
go
I
to
have
Nebolt
not
Street
seen,
to
like,
find Georgie.
any
The
of these
others aren't as
scenes.
Yeah, it's summer. We should be outside.
If you say it's summer one more fucking time.
Bill goes there anyway, and the others all follow, because friendship is a hell of a drug. Bill delivers a stutterless speech about forgotten kids and how people can't just keep forgetting them, so the gang resolves to go inside. Except Stan raises the point that maybe they should have a lookout.
Who wants to stay out here?
Everyone.
And that's where we'll end part 1. This is
And
a
of course
2.5
Betty does.
hour long movie, and I don't want to leave a bunch of stuff out.
I
So
mean,
you'll get
there's
thrilling
the Snyder
conclusion,
Cut.
including the numbers, tomorrow when I release part 2. Until then, I'm
So
James
why
J.
did he
Beast.
split it up?
This
Was
has
it
been,
like you
half
could
a
only
kill
do
count. Thanks a
under
lot for watching
15-minute
my
long
kill count
videos?
for IT 2017, the first part. I want to thank a couple of my patrons like Elliot Rivera and Kodiak Sachs. This is Chelsea, my girlfriend's Pennywise costume that she made by hand from scratch. You can see her wearing it and me wearing Tim Curry's Pennywise costume in our Halloween video right here. Sorry to break this up into 2 parts, but I just wanted to fit as much of this movie into a video as I could. Don't worry, you'll get part 2 tomorrow. I'll see you then.
Oh yeah, I guess most of his videos are like 15-ish minutes. They're only 30 minutes long when I do like 2 of them at a time.
Welcome back
that
to
does
the
make
Kill Count,
sense.
where we tally up the victims in all our favorite horror movies. I'm James A.
Yeah, no,
Beast,
this
and
is definitely
today
gonna have
we're
copyright
continuing our
issues.
coverage of
Like,
the 2017
1000%.
adaptation of Stephen King's It, directed by Andy Muschietti. I covered the first half of the movie in part 1 to this kill count, which you can watch here if you haven't seen it yet. Otherwise, let's
Yeah,
get
breaking
back
up
to those
videos
kills.
in the part 1s and part 2s, I've noticed don't do
When we last
as
left off,
amazing.
the kids were about to head inside Neibolt House after learning it was the center to so many of Derry's historical tragedies. After an off-screen straw
But I guess
drawing,
this
Bill,
he
Richie,
got,
and Eddie are the
what,
ones
like
who wind
24
up going
million
inside.
views
Richie
combined?
finds and freaks out over a
So
missing
maybe.
kids poster with his face and name on it, but Bill tells him to ignore it because it's not real. They hear a little girl's voice and go upstairs to follow it, and at the end of the
Do they not
hallway
realize
there,
it's a
they see
trap?
Eddie rips them, and oh, nope, there she goes. As Bill and Richie go to help her, Eddie is distracted by a noise he hears, so they wind up getting separated after a door closes between them. A hole opens up in the floor in front of Eddie, and his old friend Def Leppard appears,
Oh,
staring
no,
him backwards
Def
to the ground floor below. Richie then hears Eddie's voice coming from another room, so he heads inside
It's-
to check
it-
it out.
oh.
Once again, a door closes and separates the kids from one another. The lights in the room flicker and reveal its contents, a whole bunch of clowns. Richie's
whole
all
lot
like,
of
get
clowns.
out of here, you bunch of clowns. Oh, and look, OG Pennywise is chilling in the back
Oh.
there. That's a fun little Easter egg that's not charred and smoking. At the end of
Oh.
the room is a coffin, and inside is a pretty well-made Richie puppet thing. Then Pennywise pops out and plays
Why
us a
did he
golden
jump so
oldie
high?
that we haven't heard in a while.
Beep, beep, Richie.
He charges at Richie in his CG but thankfully not jerky manner, but Bill's able to get the door open and rescue it. Then a visage
how do
of
you get
Eddie
the-
pops up through a mattress to Bill and Richie and vomits up some acid spit, which flows towards them and chases them into a room
But
with
it's
a
not-
fucked up version of Let's Make a Deal. They opt for
Is
the
it
safest choice,
real?
but it's still got half of Betty Ripsom hanging out in there.
Oh.
That's some false advertising door. And by the way,
What-
I
what's
wasn't
the
sure
scary
whether or
door?
not to include Betty on the count, but decided against it since these are just visions of her, even though she's definitely dead. I don't know, man. Things are even
yeah.
worse for Eddie downstairs. whose
Also,
arms
Killer
broke
Clowns from
his
Outer
throat. Some
Space
Pennywise
is
leftovers
in the
come
video
out of
game
the
that's
fridge,
probably
and,
out
hey,
very
anyone
soon.
know how long that clown's been in there? Is it still good, or can we toss it? Pennywise
Probably
makes a
toss
big
it.
show as he approaches Eddie. And not only is that fun for Bill
Also, that
Skarsgård,
arm is
but it also
snapped.
serves a point to the plot. You see, the bigger the fear, the more flavor inside.
Tasty, tasty, beautiful.
So that's why he tries to
Pennywise
scare him.
gets Eddie nice and marinated before digging in. But before
That's
Penny
why
can
he's
say
like-
clown appetit, Bill convinces Richie that none of this is real and they're able to overcome their fears and get to where Eddie is. Seems like the not real argument might not work here.
But
though.
how does it
This
actually work?
isn't real enough for you, Billy. I'm not real enough for you. It wasn't real enough for Georgie.
Oh, low blow, clown. That
Oh.
kind of dick move deserves a freaking rod in the head, courtesy of Ms.
Oh,
Beverly Marsh. The other
okay.
kids come to the rescue as Pennywise bleeds out from his wound. He lashes out at them like a wounded animal, but they stand together to oppose it. Even as Ben gets sliced open by some clown
Again,
claws.
this
Knowing when to
poor
cut his
kid.
losses, Pennywise bows out in retreat. But Bill follows him all the way down to the basement and watches
fall-
as he escapes down the well. After Richie performs some ill-advised bone reset,
Ah,
the kids
no,
GTFO
what do you
Neibolt
mean,
House. Eddie's mom picks
resetting?
him up and yells at the others for getting him hurt. She drives off, leaving only 6 losers behind. And when Bill wants to start preparing for next time, Stan counts himself out as well.
Let me
saying
guess,
he's
they're
had
gonna be
enough of this
adults
shit.
now?
A split happens with
Yeah, they're
Beverly,
gonna be-
the only one taking Bill's side, and Richie brings
They're gonna
things
come
to
back
a
as
boil
adults?
by saying that Bill needs to face facts because Georgie's freaking dead. That turns into a face punch and the dissolution of the friend group, even though Bev argues that it's vital they remain a team.
Also, the glasses stayed on.
When we heard it. That's why we're still alive.
Richie doesn't buy it and leaves in a huff. And even Ben would prefer to skip all the heroism and live to
Bro's
get out
tired of
there.
getting
Finally,
slashed.
Mike says he's just an outsider and should stay that way. And the losers officially disband. A montage shows the passage of time, as
Yep.
all good montages do, with the kids growing up in their own individual ways. Then it's August and we're back again with the Bowers gang. When Henry wants to shoot a cat that looks way too much like Lucy for me, his dad
Aw.
finds him and thankfully stops it.
that
and
in
shoots the gun
1911?
in front of him to show the audience exactly how to raise a little psychopath of their own. Later,
Yeah,
when
that's-
Henry's stewing, a balloon appears on his mailbox, and inside is the knife he lost back when he was practicing his penmanship on Ben's stomach. He takes the knife inside,
okay.
where Butch Bowers is passed
Whoa,
out. in his
whoa,
dad
whoa,
chair.
whoa,
The
whoa,
TV
whoa,
provides
whoa.
Henry some instructions on what to do next.
Make it a wonderful day. Kill him.
And since TV was probably a better father than Butch ever was, Henry
Yu-Gi-Oh!
listens and
Abridged?
wakes up to a blade in the neck and struggles in confusion as the psychopathic son holds him
Isn't that
down,
why
killing
switchblades
him
are
for
kinda
a
like
very
illegal?
memorable, very dark moment in this movie, and the third kill on our count. Then Pennywise cameos on the telly to encourage Henry to keep it up. Eddie also has a scene of self-growth, although his is decidedly less murdery. When he goes to pick up his medicine from the pharmacist,
how many months has it been?
Dude's daughter, the same bully who orchestrated the trash waterfall on Bev's head in the beginning, picks on him for not having any signatures on his cast. Then she tells him his medicine is just a vial full of lies.
They're placebos. What does placebo mean? Placebo means bullshit.
She offers to sign his cast, but it doesn't look like she's writing anything nice on it. When Bev tries to leave her house, she finds the front door locked and her dad in maximum creeper mode.
You're looking prettied up.
He calls
in
her
the
over
shadows.
and insinuates things about her because of her all-male friend squad and the postcard poem he found in her underwear drawer. Then things get pretty
why
bad.
is he going through there?
Still my girl.
No!
And Al winds up on top of his daughter in a terrifying act of sexual abuse. Luckily, Bev fights back, kicking him in the crotch and running away from him to hide in the bathroom.
A little harder next time,
maybe?
maybe?
The door open, but Bev responds with a toilet tank lid to the
Nice.
head that knocks him the
Nice.
fuck out. Great job, Bev. Things would be going great for you if it weren't for that Pennywise.
Oh, God.
When Bev's late to meeting Bill, he heads to her house and finds her dad knocked out on the bathroom floor. But
Oh.
he's very pointedly still breathing and making
he's
alive
breathing.
noises, so again,
Okay.
no go on the count. Bill also
Just
finds a message
main.
written in blood. You die if you try. Bill's on a mission now, and it's not to see Nightmare 5. Good thing.
Nightmare on
Screenshot
Elm Street 5.
blows. Instead, it's to recruit the losers to help him save Bev, starting with Richie, who's still pissed off at him over that face punch.
See that guy I'm hitting? Pretending it's you.
When he tells Richie that it got Bev, Richie puts his street fighting on hold. They call up Eddie, who's altered his cast graffiti to be a little more complimentary. But on his way out, his mom tries to stop him based on his delicate constitution. He finally fights back against his overbearing mother.
You know what these are? They're gazebos.
Gazebos.
Bullshit.
They're
Flees from her and his
gazebos.
house to go help his friends. The other losers are recruited off
He
screen.
did not say
Together,
placebo,
the
he
six
said
boys fight their
gazebo.
way to Nebolt Street. Mike armed with his granddad's bolt gun, because
Nice.
sometimes he likes to roleplay as Anton Chigurh. As they arm themselves with fence rods, they don't notice Belcher's car on the street, watching and waiting for them.
How
to
do they
come
not
inside.
notice
Now,
that?
There's a deleted scene from the theatrical release that's pretty gosh darn relevant to our interest here on the kill count, since it shows that Henry killed Vic and Belle. I struggled immensely over whether or not to include it. I settled on leaving it out because I don't want to set a precedent for including extraneous materials like deleted scenes if they're not included in a fully completed version of the film. And by the way, this scene and others will be integrated in a director's cut promised to us later this year. But the studio didn't include it on this initial Blu-ray release because it wants people to buy the movie twice, which is total fucking bullshit. They head into the house, although Stan needs a little extra coaxing, and go downstairs to find the broken well. They throw a rope down it and begin to descend, finding a tunnel.
So
a
instead
little
of them
ways
being
down. But after
adults,
everyone
they're
except
just
for
like
Mike is safely down, Henry shows up and attacks him. Henry shows his crazy bloody face to the others down below.
Mike, where's he?
Then turns around to finish the job. Pins Mike down and puts the bolt gun to his head. But Mike ain't no sheep bower, so at the last minute, he fights back and avoids the bolt. Close one. Granddad would be proud.
Oh my
Mike hits
God.
Henry with
That's
a
how
rock
that
to
thing
get him
works?
off, and frickin' Goldberg spears him into the well. Henry falls down past the others, and here's another complication, because the movie leaves newcomers thinking Henry is dead. But
He's
I
not.
think he'll be back, because it would be a drastic change from the source material to not have him in part 2. So another
no, he's
missed
definitely-
opportunity.
what do you mean
Sorry,
part
Bev
2?
wakes up in a big old trash room full of a bunch of dead kids floating in the air. It finally gives meaning
My-
to the whole
they-
"you'll
they'll float."
too" thing,
So that's where
although
that
I'll
came
note
from.
that this is a movie invention and doesn't come from the book. Then Bev
Yeah.
is treated to a show. It's everyone's favorite meme, Pennywise the dancing clown. Pennywise is a
Dance.
clown. Pennywise is a clown.
She
Look
doesn't
at him
even look
dance, like a look at him
scared.
go, like a look at
Well,
him dance,
okay,
like
she
a
looks a little
clown.
scared,
He jumps
but,
out
like-
to greet his audience, but finds the reception lacking.
I'm not afraid of you.
Oof, that fruit ain't ripe yet, Penny. Put it in storage with your dead lights until it's nice and tasty with fear. Dead lights, they're like the crisper drawer in your fridge. Stan somehow gets
The what?
separated from the others when he thinks he hears Bev, and
crisper
as he
drawer?
stumbles
That's
around
a
by
thing?
himself, he's greeted with spooky CGI face running at the camera. When the others come and find him, they see the painting lady chowing down on little Ursus Minor, but at the sight of them together, painting lady backs away from them and disappears down a pipe, popping back out just to be like, hey, you guys know this is actually Pennywise, right? Yeah, they know, clown. The other kids
so-
get Stan up and running, although he's
Oh, well,
understandably
he's fine.
in hysterics and not too
Well,
pleased with having been left alone. While they tend to him, Bill sees Georgie running around the sewer
And he's like,
follows him through the tunnels
"Don't-
to the
don't-
big old trash
tell
heap,
somebody."
where he finds Beverly floating in the air, her eyes glazed over. Instead of helping her down right away, though, he continues his Georgie hunt, so it's up to the other kids to help her down when they come into the big sewer chamber. After checking out all those helium-filled dead kids, of course. And no, the floating dead kid crew isn't going on the count either, because there's just too many of them to count, and they keep floating around. It's hard to get a number on them. I know this kill count isn't that exciting if you're just here to see numbers get tallied, but hopefully you're watching for more than just that. They drag Ben down to ground level, and Ben does the only
I haven't
thing he
seen,
can
like,
think of, delivering
any of these
True Love's
scenes.
kiss, question mark? It totally works, meaning Ben should be called Life Lips for the rest of his days, and Ben finally recognizes that game.
General Ambers.
My heart burns there too.
Before Ben can capitalize and get a non-catatonic smooch, though, Richie hugs them both, and Mike jumps in too, because hey, might as well be a group thing in the sewer now. Wink. Bill finds a one-armed Georgie, who he has a tearful conversation with about
It's
paper
not
boats
him.
and shit. Georgie asks Bill to take him home, and Bill says, yeah, that'd be great, except
You're
there's
not
just
real.
one little problem.
But you're not Georgie.
Well,
Dude, for a
that's
second
one way to
there,
get
I thought
closure.
maybe it was Georgie, somehow having survived in the sewer this whole time. And then
That
would
would've
have been a
been-
fucked up twist with Bill actually killing
Yeah,
him.
no,
But
that twist would've
little
been
kid is
nuts.
a clown in disguise, obviously. Pennywise sits up, and I hope you all ready to rumble, because the main event is about to get started.
What do
Bill
you-
puts the bolt gun
This
in
has been
Pennywise's head,
enjoyable.
Even though Mike yells to him that it's not loaded, Bill pulls the trigger, and it apparently hurts Pennywise.
Oh,
It's the
because
power
they
of
believe.
imagination, yo. The fight breaks out entirely now, as Pennywise fights all the kids at once, throwing them around the sewer and definitely having the upper hand. He eventually gets
Well,
Bill
obviously.
in a hold and makes an offer to the others. Leave him alone to nom down on Bill, and they can all live long, happy lives, never having to look over their shoulder to
happy
see if the
lives?
clown is running at them in jerky CG. Bill co-signs the agreement out of guilt for leading everyone down there, and it looks like Richie might too, since he gives a speech about how this is all Bill's fault and lists all the shit he's had to do
Wait,
because
you're
of it.
really gonna do that?
I'm gonna have to kill this fucking clown.
Yeah, that's right. These
Nice.
losers stand together. The fight continues with a lot more showmanship this time around. As all the kids attack Pennywise, he
why
transforms
does he have so many
into
arms?
various things that terrify them, along with a cameo appearance by some spider crab claws in a reference to the miniseries.
Gitaro?
The mummy with bandages attacking Ben in a reference to the book. He saves the real terror for last, Bev's rapey fucking father, but that
Okay,
only
yeah.
encourages her to put a rock through his mouth. Eat it, clown. That's pretty much it for Mr. P. Wise, who crawls away from them in defeat until his back's against another drain pipe. Bill recognizes that the clown is scared because now he's gonna starve. And Pennywise backflips into
Is he
the
actually
gonna
gonna starve?
drops out of sight entirely. His
Did he
head
not take
begins
another
to disintegrate, and
kid?
he offers one final parting word.
Fear.
Down he goes. See you in 2019, Bill. The day is saved, and
wait,
the kid
20
corpses
wait.
all float down. Bill finds
They didn't do
George's
another one of
raincoat,
these,
and
did
the
they?
others all group hugging, because that's what you do when you're the best of friends. Later in the year, Bev tells them about a dream she had where she saw them all, much older, back in the sewer. That prompts Bill
Oh.
to start a blood pact.
If it isn't dead, if it ever comes back, we'll come back too.
They all agree to it and get
Yeah.
their hands sliced open to make it count. It's a real nice moment, and another scene that shows how this isn't just a good horror movie, it's a really well-made movie overall. Eventually, the losers filter out one by one, each returning home on their own, until it's just
And
Bill
then-
and Bev talking about how Bev's about to leave town to go live with her aunt. When she goes to leave, Bill realizes this is his last chance to act on his feelings, and he gives her a
Wait,
goodbye
so he
kiss.
has
Good
feeling-
read, Bill. She like it. She like it a lot. And that's it. Chapter 1, motherfuckers. Hell of a movie.
Did they do a
Did it have
chapter
hell of a
2?
body count?
Has that
Spoiler
happened?
alert. No, it did not. Here, I'll show you at the numbers.
Wait, did they come out missing? Oh no, James, no, no. We will find him. 28 years old. Oh no. Let's see the last scene. January
By my
27th.
count,
Was
only
it counting
3
numbers?
people died in 2017. A new kill count low.
Who?
All 3 victims were male, so maybe I should have found a way to work Betty Rip some in
the
to add a little
cop?
variety here. At a runtime of
Georgie?
135 minutes, that comes out to a kill on average, get this, every 45 minutes. I'll give the Golden Chainsaw for coolest kill.
Is that
to
the
Georgie.
lowest?
It's the horror movie kill we've always heard about but never seen, until now. And this movie's depiction did the legend justice.
Is this
Well,
the
Machete
lowest
Flaming
we've
Kill
seen?
will go to Patrick Hoxton.
But it
Love
didn't
the
seem
scene
like
leading
it.
up to it, but ultimately it's just more Pennywise running at the camera. And that's it. It was released in 2017 and quickly garnered the highest opening weekend box office for a horror movie ever. It was hugely
Wow.
popular, then faced some backlash, as can be expected.
Yeah.
But I still think it's an amazing film that's funny as hell. On Monday,
Yeah,
I got the
I've
best
heard it was
kills
more
of Friday
funny
the
than
13th
scary.
for you, and next Friday we're going to start on A Nightmare on Elm Street. But until
Yeah,
then,
I think that's
take
gonna be the
peace.
next thing,
It's
right?
on
The next thing is gonna be
Thank you
Friday
for watching
or
part 2 of
Nightmare
my
on
kill
Elm
count
Street.
for It 2017.
Top
One
13
thanks to
kills?
my
I don't think
patrons
I'll
like Crispin
do
Creighton and
that.
Ludwig
Unless you
Moore.
want
If
me
enjoyed
to.
that
I read
Patreon
every comment.
family,
Let me know.
click the button on the screen right over there. Patreon emailed me to say that in 2017 I was more active than 95% of creators. What? Next
That's
week
nuts.
is going to be a big week
What do you mean
on this
as
channel.
active?
Between the
Like,
Friday the
by
13th
posting?
franchise kills and A Nightmare
Between Nightmare on Elm Street, which is going to be those, which I don't really know much about anything about Nightmare on Elm Street. I think I've seen that's Freddy Krueger, right? I know that only because of the shoes. If you're unfamiliar with the Nike Dunk Freddy Kruegers, which are like a shoe that was like supposed to be destroyed, and there's a couple of them out there, and they're really, really expensive. They're like a mythical shoe, pretty much. But I know about that through like Freddy vs. Jason, which is like a nostalgia critic video I did, and there was another one. There was like death battles and stuff like that. So that's gonna be interesting. I saw a lot of it I had never seen before in this right here. So I don't know if Chapter 2 has come out. Has it come out yet? I really don't know if it has or not. I might have completely missed it if it did, but that would explain why they come back as adults, just like they did in the miniseries, because the miniseries was a series and not just a movie. No, this is wild. There was a lot, like so many things I did not even know about were in this movie were shown to me in this. I thought I was going to this like, oh yeah, I already know how it goes. I've seen like multiple videos on it, the old one, the new, or a couple. I've seen like one on the new one and stuff like that. So like, oh yeah, I've seen it. This is gonna be that surprising. It was very surprising. So this was it, 2017. Next week's gonna be Nightmare on Elm Street 1 and 2. It's gonna be my first time being introduced to those movies. I really look forward to it. I hope to see you there. But until then, take care and keep the music.